The GMC Acadia is brand new for 2024, and as the Denali, it finally looks as expensive as it was meant to be. For 2024, it's a whole lot larger, it's more comfortable, more technologically advanced than ever before, and it doesn't cost a whole lot more money. Let's go take a drive. I never liked the way the Acadia looked. I never liked how it drove either. But now, for the third generation in 2024, it's looking very, very good, especially on the inside. I will go on record stating that I've never liked the way the GMC Acadia has looked from the outside, and it's been about 10 years since I last drove one. That generation really hasn't held up well. Even the 2023 model year just doesn't really look all that good. There's just parts of it that look frumpy. Look at this, from all angles, especially in this blue color and these 22-inch wheels. Those are the biggest ever on an Acadia. GMC is finally bringing us some of the elegance from the bigger Yukon and distilling it into the Acadia, which is smaller. However, the wheelbase actually matches the Yukon and the Chevy Tahoe. More than 120 inches. That is a very big difference, over 8 inches versus the 2023 Acadia. And inside, you will see exactly how large. From the outside, it just looks more elegant. The streamlined face, you get multiple grille options. This, of course, is the Denali, so you get a special little crosshatch, I don't know what you call it. A lot of textures, a lot of chrome, but not too much. GMC is not going overboard like that. Plenty of wheel choices on the Acadia, more colors, and of course, LED animation if you're ordering the top Denali trims. It just looks sleeker, it looks more upscale. You don't have to look at it that long to notice it. Instead of a rental car look, you're now getting an elevated look. Now, elevation is the lowest trim of the Acadia, but on this Denali, you can see all the extra chrome. And this really makes it more like the bigger Sierra and the Yukon. Those vehicles just look more elegant because they're larger. It's bringing all of that style into a somewhat smaller SUV. I just like the way this car looks. It's not overdone. And the fact that it's mirroring the bigger trucks that are more expensive, that's what makes it look that much more expensive. The Acadia should fill up your screen. The wheelbase, this is equal to a GMC Yukon. The whole vehicle is over 10.5 inches longer. It's over 3 inches higher and almost 6 inches wider. This makes the Acadia so much larger, it's actually one of the largest midsize 3-rows you can buy. Order the Acadia Denali and you get animated LED light sequences every time you lock or unlock the car. The back of the Acadia looks a whole lot better than any other Acadia. And by doing that, what is GM doing? Well, they're getting rid of all the extra bulbous creases that they used to have, all these things that made the car look kind of fat and ungainly. Now, it looks more svelte. Back here especially, not any use of chrome. This is the Denali, but hey, it's polished black now, and you have a wider LED strip. I just like the way that looks. That is more of the trend these days, to have thinner LEDs in the back and extend them wide. It just makes the car look sportier and it doesn't make it look so imposing. It's a very big tailgate and there's plenty of cargo space, believe me. There's about 3 extra inches of headroom and legroom in the new Acadia versus the old one. It's a major difference. A lot comes standard. Heated seats, a heated steering wheel, wireless charging, and an 8-way power driver's seat. On this Denali trim, you're getting cross-stitch patterns all over the dash and the seats, and all of this white. I actually like it quite a lot. The light grays, the blacks, it's a great color combination, but I definitely know this is gonna get filthy in no time. Finally, for the first time when you get a Denali, you're getting wood that looks and feels real, because it is. The Acadia comes as a 7-passenger SUV, so you only have 2 captain's chairs in this second row. On the Denali, well, heated seats. Of course, they're leather. It's a little difficult, though, to adjust the fore and aft here. Once you get that, though, tons of legroom. Of course, more legroom than ever before. That's the theme here in the Acadia, more. To access the third row, you press the button on the seat back here or on the side. Plenty of room to get back here with this extra wide door opening. The third row has another inch of headroom and almost 2.5 inches extra legroom versus the outgoing Acadia. You can fit 3 across. I would really only put 2. You can actually fit 2 real adults back here. Air vents right here and USB-Cs on both sides. You want gains? It's back here. 23 cubic feet behind the third row, which power folds. What you see here is 57 cubic feet. With those captain's chairs folded, almost 98. That matches the Toyota Grand Highlander as the largest cargo space among any midsize 3-row SUV. The Acadia goes from 2 engines down to 1. It's a 2.5-liter turbo inline-4, over 320 horsepower and over 320 pound-feet of torque. That is more than the old 3.6-liter V6. Very big upgrade. An 8-speed automatic transmission comes standard, and across all 3 trims, it's either front or all-wheel drive. Fuel efficiency, not really all that good. It's still a very big, heavy vehicle, so those numbers are okay. Definitely better in front-wheel drive, but you're definitely not getting anywhere near 30 mpg with this vehicle. There's no hybrid option available. Towing, 5,000 pounds, and that is more, 1,000 pounds more than the V6 from 2023. For a small 4-cylinder engine, there's a lot of power. It doesn't bother me that much, because it just gets to speed really without that much effort. The effort, though, is more in the sound. Because while it's not that loud, it does drone. It's a 4-cylinder engine, and it doesn't sound as good as the bigger 4-cylinder engine in GM's trucks, like the Canyon, the Colorado. But that's for rear-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive vehicles. This Acadia is a front-wheel drive vehicle, so it has a completely different engine. It's the 2.5-liter, and it doesn't make quite as much torque. And the delivery also is not quite what I was expecting given my experience in the GMC Canyon. The torque comes on a lot higher in the rev range, as does the horsepower. But really, if you're coming from a vehicle this size in the segment, no matter what you're choosing, this is gonna feel like it has plenty of get up and go. And considering this engine is replacing 2 older GM engines, really, it's the only one you're really gonna want. And yeah, the response from the 8-speed automatic is also pretty good. The only issue, to use the paddle shifters, you have to press this L button on the steering wheel and then use them, which strikes me as kind of counterintuitive when you just want to use it right away. Press that again, puts it back into drive. Not really a fan of that. But in terms of straight line comfort, this one hits it all the way. Without an air suspension, without adaptive dampers, on 22-inch tires, it's very quiet. The Denali trim promises a lot of luxury, and I would say this car actually delivers that without being Cadillac or Lexus or any of the other, you would say, true luxury brands. And at this level, in this interior, it's definitely giving me a nicer vibe than in the Chevy Traverse. The engine just doesn't sound very premium. Kind of sounds like it groans a little bit, but it's a lot better than older GM 4-cylinders, so that's okay. It's just that whenever you really want to get up and go, you got to put your foot in, and the engine just revs a bit more because there's not a ton of low-end torque. But you get used to it. The steering is also relatively direct. It's definitely tuned for comfort. There's a drive mode switch on the left. Instead of the headlights, which you can only adjust in the touchscreen, at least I can adjust the driving modes with a physical switch. That changes the throttle response. It changes some of the steering weighting. But really, the Acadia is not really steering any more accurately to me than when I was driving a Canyon AT4X. And that's not an exaggeration. That truck, you can watch that review, had really accurate steering on some very knobby all-terrain tires and a completely different off-road suspension. Now, GMC calls this performance suspension. They don't really describe what they do to it. When you get the Acadia Denali, you can get that option, and it really, to me, not really sure what it does. Because really, this car is just meant for straight line comfort. The steering is just okay, not quite as good as other GM models. It just has more of a loose feeling than what I remember, especially in vehicles, say, like the Chevy Equinox and GMC Terrain. Those are smaller vehicles, but they just have a more accurate feel. I will say, though, that given the increased size of this Acadia versus all the previous Acadia generations, I mean, truly, this is almost feeling like the size of a Tahoe. It doesn't really drive like that. Corner's pretty flat. And it's not entertaining, but it's stable. So for such a large SUV, You get a lot of comfort, but you have a lot of stability and not a lot of roll. This is a good handling, big SUV. A lot better than I would expect. And as long as you're more gentle with the brakes, because these are not very large rotors, it's a very, very big car, and GM never puts big enough brakes, but it's fine. Just don't test it too much, especially if you have a trailer. Every Acadia comes with this 15-inch portrait display. It's all touch, save for this volume knob here, and a row of toggle switches for the climate controls. It runs quickly. It runs Google natively, so you get the maps, you get Google Assistant, the Play Store, and other GM vehicles just like this works pretty well. It's just a different orientation here, a lot more space. Now the cameras don't particularly look really good on this display. I just think because it's way more high res than the cameras are. These are okay, but they could be a little bit better considering the size of this screen. However, there are some major usability issues. For example, the headlights. They're down here, and then it pops up here. That might not seem like a big deal, but try to adjust it when the vehicle's off and the screen is off. Not good. There's also a row of blank switches here. They're not actually switches, but they're blank. For example, the auto high beams will be here, and then you start to drive and it will disappear. I don't really understand that. For example, the heated seats. See, you want to press it down here. Well, now you have to go up to then see what it's going on down here. Same with the fan direction, we have to go all the way up here. That really does not make a lot of sense. I don't like this layout. So it does look cool, but it also smudges extremely easily. And because the typefaces and the icons are so thin, it can be washed out in a hurry. I do like the interface. It's generally fast and all that, but really it looks cool. I don't think it operates as cool every single day. It's not as easy to use. Every Acadia comes with a lot of standard safety features, and they're all standard no matter which trim. For example, you're even getting rear pedestrian alerts, you're getting side bicyclist alerts. This is pretty great. And Super Cruise is also an option, which is also a great system. We've reviewed it in so many other vehicles that GM has made, but all of this is easily accessible with these menus right here. A digital instrument panel comes standard with 3 views, including full screen maps, 1 for driver assist, and the main display. The only thing you can change is the portion on the left. So you could add transmission fluid temperature, all sorts of things, but you have to do it from the main touchscreen. There's no thumb controls for that. The only thing you can do here is really just answer calls, and also for radio favorites. I wish GM had some more functionality here because it is a crisp and bright display. The GMC Acadia starts around $43,000. There are 3 trims. As tested, the Denali with the Reserve package and Super Cruise, about $65,000 fully loaded. Competitors, there's a lot. The Chevy Traverse, Ford Explorer, Toyota Grand Highlander, Jeep Grand Cherokee L, and a whole lot more. Talk about a major improvement. Not only is the Acadia larger, which isn't the biggest improvement, it's better to look at. It looks more expensive. It's better to sit inside, and it's a lot better to drive. So many things that were lacking in GMC's, particularly the Denali trims, which ask a lot of money, a lot more than a Chevrolet, and very close to a lot of luxury brands. Well, it's finally delivering. It's been a long time for it to deliver, but it's doing it. What do you think? And do you want to see more SUV reviews? Because we've got them. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.